Today we're going to demonstrate the latest feature of the BrickStor security platform, Ghost, the global hands-off storage transfer. What this allows you to do is switch to BrickStor SP on day one. Instead of having to copy all the metadata and contents to the new storage before you can start using it, all we have to do is copy the metadata and now cut over the users. This allows you to gain the benefits of your BrickStor SP investment much faster and eliminate the hassles of traditional storage migrations. Ghost is available on all deployment options, whether it's the physical appliance, SAN gateway, or virtual appliance on-prem or in the cloud. And while the migration is for SMB and NFS shares, migrated shares can be exposed via all four protocols, which includes SMB, NFS, S3, and WebDrive. Before we do the live demo, I want to go through the process of using Ghost to cut over users and migrate the data from the old share to the new BrickStor SP. So the first thing we do is we create a new data set on BrickStor SP. Then we assess the old file share. We get the capacity required, as well as the number of folders and files that exist on the old file share. In the demo today, we'll be migrating an SMB share off a Windows file server. Next, we prepare the share on BrickStor SP by copying all the metadata and permissions from the old file share to the new file share. The next step's the big one. That's the cutover. That's when we point the users to the new BrickStor. At this point, the BrickStor becomes the live file share and everybody's able to operate off the BrickStor. So we don't have to wait to copy all the contents of the files like you would in a traditional file share migration, because now we're moving all of the users to the BrickStor as soon as we've copied the metadata, which can happen in minutes to hours. So now everybody's operating off the BrickStor and you're getting all the benefits of BrickStor, including active defense, user behavior auditing, and everything else BrickStor has to offer. And it doesn't matter how long it takes to move the contents of the files from the old share to BrickStor. If a file is opened by a user application, we immediately prioritize that and deliver it up to the user and write it down to BrickStor, as well as any changes. Once we finish migrating all the contents of all the old file share, then we complete the Ghost migration and provide a report of the full audit activity. So let's see the live demo in action. So to demonstrate Ghost, the first thing we're going to do is going to create the data set on the BrickStor. So we're going to call this ops. We're going to enable dataset encryption. And now we're going to point it to the source server, which in this case is a Windows file share. And we're going to set the number of concurrent transfers to 100, which sets how many concurrent files we'll be replicating in the end. It's going to go out to that share. It pulled the share permissions from that share on the Windows file share. And now we're going to skip to the confirmation and create the share. So now it's created the share and it's assessed the number of files and capacity on that share. So we can see there's 20 gigs of data and 1,863 files. So the next step is to prepare the destination on the BrickStor for that. And this is actually going to go out and start copying all the metadata over to the new BrickStor share. So if I enable this, I can actually go to that on the share. So we're going to go to 10.2.19.1 over here, and we're going to go to that hidden op share. And so we can see those shares here, and we've already copied over the metadata to this share. So if we actually go to the original Windows source, that 10.2.19.4, we actually see that ops folder here show up, and we can see that we see a matching set of things here. And we can, at this point, test even things like permissions and things like that. We can go into here. We can actually look at an image right here, and it'll actually go and pull that image off the source share, which is the Windows file server, and open that up here so that we can see that. So we can validate before cutover that things work as expected. So now we're ready to cut over. So at this point, we're basically monitoring for changes. So if anyone's making changes on the source side, we'll know. So if there's a lot of change, we could wait, but at this point it's ready to cut over. So we cut this over, and now basically we unhide that share and create the share for everybody. We basically say we're transitioning the source share to read-only. People are now going to be operating off of the BrickStor as their primary share. So we're pointing all the users at this point over to the new share on the BrickStor. So this is the cutover. And once we do this, now that share on the BrickStor is actually visible to everyone. So we can go right into that, and we go to ops. And so now at this point, it's a live and active share. We're able to go and see those same videos and images like we saw before. And now users are actually operating on this share and data is coming over. But if we go back to this share over here, we see that we're transferring data. So we can see how many files we've migrated and how much data in terms of gigabytes we've migrated to the share. It doesn't matter though how fast this happens, because what's happening is if somebody opens a file that hasn't been migrated yet, it's immediately prioritized and brought over to service the user's request. And we can actually see the 100 concurrent transfers going on here, right here. So this is going to finalize in just a few moments as well. So now the data migration is completed. It's verified that everything is over from the source to the destination, and we're now ready to complete this. We can also review the audit log if we want to do that. But now it disconnects from the source share, and now this is the active file share since cutover. So you can continue operating. Basically, once we cut over, users begin operating from the BrickStor. So you're able to immediately gain the protections of BrickStor as soon as you do cut over. And like always, everything is audited. So everyone's user activity and active defense is active as soon as cutover occurs as well.